Thank you. Thank you, Undersecretary Nowert, our distinguished honorees and guests. Thank you for the honor of allowing me to join you again as we recognize the recipients of the International Women of Courage Award. This award is reserved for those women around the world who have shown incredible courage and leadership in advocating for peace, justice, human rights, equality, and women's empowerment. They do so at the great personal risk to themselves and their families. Each of these women now join the distinguished list of past honorees who have made the world a better place. As we recognize these incredible women, let us think for a moment about what courage truly is. Courage is the quality most needed in this world, yet it is often the hardest to find. Courage sets apart those who believe in higher calling and those who act on it. It takes courage not only to see wrong, but strive to right it. Courage is what sets apart the heroes from the rest. It is equal parts bravery and nobility. The women of courage we honor here today are heroes. They're heroes in the countries they call home. They're heroes for the entire world. In recognizing them, we stand for what is right. In telling their stories, we can teach young women and girls all over the world what it means to have courage and to be a hero. Their examples define courage. I see courage in a woman who survived a brutal attack under lasting injuries and who now speaks against violence and teaches young girls the power of self-worth and self-respect. I see courage in a woman who became the first in her country to serve in the military and helps lead the fight against terrorists who seeks only to destroy life. And I see courage in a woman who risks her own life to see that the women and girls of Iraq are no longer subject to the horrors of human trafficking, killings, or rape. These are some of the stories of courage we will hear today. Each of them defines a hero who walks among us. As many of you know, I'm focused on helping children in everywhere that I can. And I believe that they learn by what they see around them. The women we are honoring today define what it means to be a role model. I cannot thank all of you enough for the path you are helping to pave for our next generation. As we take this moment to honor such deserving women, let me also thank the men and women of the State Department who work every day in the pursuit of a world that is more free and more prosperous, not only for the American people, but for all of mankind. I thank you, our incredible American diplomats, for showing courage on behalf of our country every day. I'm here because I believe in you and the honorees with whom I'm privileged to share the stage with, and who do so much on behalf of humanity. God bless you, your families. God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Mrs. Trump. Thanks to all of you. As Mrs. Trump just discussed, courage takes many, many forms. This year, we are honored to recognize 10 extraordinary women who've dedicated and demonstrated not only courage and leadership, but a deep resolve to fight for what they believe in and day out. I'd like to introduce you to these women. First, we have Roya Sadat. She's from Afghanistan. She is a writer, a producer, a film director. Ms. Sadat, she's over here. She is being honored for refusing to be silenced in her home country. She uses the arts to raise awareness of the brutal challenges facing women and girls. And despite threats to herself, her cast, and her crew, she served as a pioneer for Afghanistan's cultural reawakening. In fact, she wrote her film, 3 Dots, while keeping it a secret from the Taliban. And many of you will recall that entertainment was not allowed. Music, films, all of that was not allowed under the Taliban. Congratulations to you. Thank you for your bravery. And next from Honduras, we have Dr. Julissa Villanueva. She is the Director of Forensic Medicine at the Honduras Public Ministry. Dr. Villanueva is being honored for tackling pervasive violence against women, changing the face of criminal accountability through the use of scientific evidence, and facing down gang violence in the struggle to bring justice. Welcome and thank you. And next, I'd like to introduce you to Alia Khalafe Saleh. She's from Iraq, a humanitarian volunteer working to resist sectarian and radical ideology. Ms. Salah is being honored for her bravery, her heroism, and her compassion in the wake of ISIS terror. She selflessly risked her own life to save others. In fact, she is credited with rescuing 58 young Iraqi military cadets who were ambushed by ISIS back in 2014. Imagine the bravery that takes for a woman in that country. It's really incredible. She risked her own life to save others in working with all Iraqi communities as well as security forces. Congratulations, ma'am. Such tremendous bravery in this room. Next, I'd like to introduce you to Sister Maria Elena Bernini. She's from Italy. She's a sister of charity of St. Azan Antide Touré. She was born in Italy, but works at a Catholic mission in the Central African Republic. Sister Maria Elena is being honored for her service to counter hatred, injustice, and war-related horrors. She has provided refuge to those internally displaced people by conflict and her tireless work to bring peace in the Central African Republic. Thank you, Sister. And next, I'd like to introduce you to Ayman Amarova. She's from Kazakhstan. She is a lawyer, a human rights defender, a promoter of justice, and other reforms. Ms. Umarova is being honored for improving laws to address violence against women and children, delivering justice in a number of landmark cases for rape victims, and her efforts in counting violent extremism despite the grave risks that she faces in Kazakhstan. Thank you so much. Dr. Faride Rushiti is from Kosovo. She's the founder and executive director of the Kosovo Center for Rehabilitation of Torture Victims. Dr. Rushiti is being honored for decades of advocacy on behalf of civilian victims of Kosovo's war, including rape survivors, and she's laid the groundwork for a legislative victory to support survivors of wartime sexual violence. Thank you, Doctor. To Mauritania now. I would like to introduce you to Ama Luma Said from Mauritania. She's a former slave and now a deputy member of parliament in Mauritania's National Assembly. That is incredible. Mrs. Saeed is being honored. Wait here, Mrs. Saeed. You can stay here. We're not done yet. Stay right there. Thank you. Mrs. Saeed is being honored for her relentless activism in the fight against slavery, including work in the country's most effective anti-slavery organization, perseverance and promotion of human rights and equality, and resolve in addressing a failing prison system in Mauritania. Thank you so much. Godelive Musarasi is from Rwanda. She's a founder and coordinator of an NGO dedicated to helping widows and orphans of the Rwandan genocide, and she is herself a survivor of that trauma. She is being honored for her instrumental role in bringing women's voices to the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, leading to the first historic conviction of rape as a war crime. Thank you, ma'am, for your work. Next, Sirigan Jaransari is from Thailand. She's a lawyer and human rights defender and is being honored for fiercely standing up for human rights. This includes the rights to peaceful assembly and expression. During Thailand's military rule, she co-founded an organization to provide pro bono legal services to those who are facing politically motivated charges and overcoming unprecedented harassment and persecution. As a result of her advocacy, she now faces 3 sets of criminal charges for her work as a lawyer, and those charges include sedition. What a brave woman. Thank you. And next to Guatemala. Arona Elena Farfan is a human rights activist and an advocate for families of the forcibly disappeared during Guatemala's civil war in the 1960s and subsequent conflicts. Ms. Farfan is being honored for her 33 years of fearless leadership in enabling the prosecution of former military officers involved in extrajudicial killings. She has been an activist since her brother disappeared back in 1984. Since then, she's received death threats and has even been kidnapped by armed assailants in her country. We recognize Ms. Farfan in absentia today as she is not able to travel to Washington from Guatemala due to a current medical condition that she suffers. So please join me in thanking these women, welcoming these women to the United States, and I would like to introduce you to our next speaker. Please join me in giving a round of applause for this remarkable group of leaders, and it is my pleasure to introduce one of our women of courage who will give remarks on behalf of the group, Godelive Musarasi from Rwanda. Thank you.
Mrs. Trump, Acting Undersecretary Noart, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to stand here to tell you my joy and my gratitude for this acknowledgement of my work in Rwanda. As a committed activist, I have been fighting for the rights of women victims of rape and their children born of such rapes. During the genocide against Tutsis in 1994, through an extensive therapy process to help heal them of their trauma, and through active advocacy, the rape victims have become models of self-development and resilient citizens. During the genocide, 1 million innocent lives were lost, and millions of survivors were affected by the trauma, left with physical and emotional wounds. Rape has been used as a war weapon. Tutsi women and girls raped in mass, and some of them became pregnant or by the militia and soldiers of the former regime. A number of these women were infected with HIV/AIDS or other sexually transmitted diseases. Some underwent genital mutilation. Others were forced to marry the perpetrators as a price to escape death, therefore becoming sexual slaves and captives. When the militias were defeated, the women returned to their families but were rejected and stigmatized by relatives for having been the spouse of a militia member or for being pregnant by them. They were told to abort or to go away with their caused pregnancy. Some of these women decided to abort, others left their families to hide far away, protecting their babies, who today are beautiful 24-year-old women and men. Even though the government of Rwanda has done everything to address the effect of the genocide, the cases of rape were kept silent because speaking of sexual issues is taboo in Rwanda culture. Breaking the silence of this crime, I started the Sevota organization in Itawa in December 1994. Before meeting Sevota organization, every woman thought she was alone and would remain humiliated. But when sharing their stories, they find out that they could decide to accept themselves and accept their children. After experiencing the Sevota hearing session and receiving assistance, these Rwandan women decided to speak out against rape and stood up to testify about them in the International Criminal Court of Rwanda. This women's advocacy persuaded the international community make rape punishable as a crime against humanity. These resilient women and young people are fully integrated in the community. Undertaking ICAM producing activities, sustaining themselves, and preventing renewed trauma. However, there is the need for more attention, as many of them are living with post-traumatic effects such as HIV/AIDS, poverty, and a fragilized and wounded memory. This is why Sevota continues to advocate, to heal, and to participate in self-development program using different channels, such as the recent film, The Uncondemned, where Sorafina, Victoria, and Cecile played a key role in speaking out. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express my profound gratitude toward those who have encouraged me, including the government of Rwanda, which appoint me as one of the guardians of the social pact, and the institution who have selected me for this prize. Finally, I would like to extend many thank you who have attended this ceremony, and most of all, my sincerest thanks to First Lady, Mrs. Melania Trump, Acting Undersecretary Noart, to Secretary Office for Global Women's Issues, and the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please join me in a final round of applause for this remarkable group of women leaders. The United States will continue to work to advance the rights of women and girls globally, well aware that when women do better, countries do better, families do better, we all do better. Mrs. Trump, thank you for your inspiring words and for being part of today's ceremony and our ceremony last year as well. This is certainly your passion, and we are so grateful to have you. To the 2018 International Women of Courage awardees, thank you for all that you have done and all that you continue to do. Thank you for your bravery, for your commitment, especially in the face of adversity. We honor you and your work. At this time, I'd like to ask the First Lady and the 2018 International Women of Courage Award recipients to please stand for a group photo together, and we'll get a picture together, and then we'll conclude our ceremonies. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated while the First Lady and the 2018 International Women of Courage awardees then depart. Let's take a picture first. Please remain seated while the First Lady and the 2018 International Women of Courage awardees depart. Thank you, ladies. And thanks to all of you for coming today. For those of you who are joining us in our reception, you're now invited to proceed to the Ben Franklin room, and that is on the 8th floor. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to our First Ladies, and thank you to these wonderful ladies. Thank you.